Yo, what's up? My name is Patrouski. Welcome to my PokeMMO guide for the upcoming Halloween event in the year 2024. A quick disclaimer that when it comes to preparation for an event, we never really know if it will be accurate. I would say generally in the past, preparing will give you like a 60% to 80% advantage and be around that percentage in terms of accuracy, but events are due to change and subject to change every single year. Now, we'll go over many different types of ways to prepare, but keep in mind if you prepare something like a Pokemon that was very good last year during the boss fight, it might not be actually good this year, but if you don't prepare it, it may be super expensive during the event. It kind of becomes a catch-22. But I'm going to quickly go over all of the ways that I think are the best ways to prepare for the Halloween event and what I'll be doing personally. But first things first, when is the Halloween event in Pokemon? How can you prepare for something if you don't even know your deadline and how close it is to actually coming up? Well, usually it appears on October 31st. However, the PokeMMO developers are infamous for never setting hard deadlines and scheduling events like this. Technically, the only way we even know about events like this happening consistently is due to historical pattern, and events like this are not guaranteed, especially this year with PokeMMO raids currently deep in development. It's possible they pass up on doing certain events this year for more developer time on raids. It's unlikely, but it's possible, and it has happened in the past with a previous Xmas event and 2 years ago, I believe, or last year's anniversary event getting skipped to focus on Johto's development. Speaking of Patrouski, where is this year's anniversary event? I wish I had an answer for you. I really do. But with an extremely small developer team with only around a handful of people, and the fact they make the best Pokemon MMO, all you can really do is be patient. I'm personally hoping I see my favorite event ever in PokeMMO, the anniversary event, at least return next year. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on to preparation. Now, I have preparation split up into 5 main things you're going to have to make sure you have. So let's go ahead and start with number 1, and that's going to be account progress and locations unlocked. This is especially going to matter if you have a bunch of alt accounts that you would like to make progress on or abuse for Pokeyen during this event. But in general, the more regions you have completed, the better. And if you have all 5 regions complete, that is generally considered that you have full access to the event. However, just having up to a certain city in most of the regions will be enough. For example, in Kanto, you just need to have access up to Lavender Town. That's it. Just up to Lavender Town could be done in a few hours from a fresh account pretty darn easily. And then you can access the Pumpkin boss fight, which will spawn right here. Obviously, once again, all of this is subject to being exactly or somewhat accurate to last year's event. In Unova, for example, I believe you need access to Nakreen City to access the Pumpkin boss. It'll be different per region, but generally around 3 to 4 cities in is the general rule of thumb. Step 2 is going to be preparing the proper Pokemon, and once again, keep in mind this is all subject to change, but this is what I have prepared that I've been using consistently for the last few years during the Halloween events. These have almost always been good, so I do think that these are pretty darn reliable. First things first, I have a Chandelure. I can show you guys the EVs and the IVs. They don't have to be amazing. This Chandelure, for example, is docile. That's not very good. You would do much better with like a modest natured Chandelure with just 20 plus in special attack and speed, and that will be plenty sufficient. Now, EV training is super helpful, so I definitely recommend doing that, and you definitely want high-level Pokemon for this. You are going to want level 100 Pokemon for this. Events like this, for doing the Pumpkin boss, this is going to be an endgame level activity. This is not meant for new players, but even so, in my opinion, I think you could reach this point as a new player by the end of the week. Usually, events will last around 1 to 2 weeks, 7 to 10 days typically, and I absolutely think you could start a new account and make progress enough to be able to defeat the Pumpkin boss once to be able to fully participate in the event. So these 3 Pokemon that I'm going to put up on screen now, these are generally, actually look at the Typhlosion, this guy, these are generally the 3 Pokemon that are used to defeat the Pumpkin on easy mode. That's the thing to keep in mind here. Pumpkin on easy mode. What you'll want is a Typhlosion with Choice Specs and Eruption, a Crocodile with Assurance, and generally you want Choice Band. And then finally, a Chandelure with Ghost Gem. Now, keep in mind, the Safeguard TM on Chandelure is actually wildly important, or historically, once again, historically it has been. There is a big move from the boss that puts all of your Pokemon to sleep, so using Safeguard to be able to dodge that is super important. So a quick recap here for the 3 Pokemon you'll need for the Pumpkin boss on easy mode. I would recommend a modest, decent IV Chandelure. That usually means 20 plus in special attack and speed. The Ultra Bolt is nice but not needed. Safeguard, Shadow Ball, and Fire Blast are a must. This 4th move is kind of extra. Typhlosion, modest nature or some sort of special attack nature, not quiet. 252 special attack EVs, 252 speed, essentially just a gym rerun Typhlosion, 31 special attack, 31 speed, eruption, and then I recommend flamethrower or something else slotted over here because you want a backup fire move just in case you run out of PP, but it should be unlikely, which also brings me to the point that PP maxing eruption is extremely important against the Pumpkin fight, or you won't be able to have a move to spam until the very end. And then finally, you do need a Crocodile. Just decent stats, 31 attack, 31 speed. Pretty sure, yeah, this one has bad nature as well. Prioritize nature. These are Patrouski noob mistakes from 2020. Okay, don't make the same mistakes that I did. These guys work honestly, so feel free to, once again, you don't need perfect Pokemon, but going adamant, lonely, or naughty would probably be more beneficial here. And then you want to go assurance. You're usually going to move after as Crocodile. That extra assurance damage is pretty significant. That is for the Pumpkin easy mode fight, and I will put out a guide on that. If you're wondering, why would I even want to do the Pumpkin fight? What's the benefit? You get some goodie bags, usually some Halloween goodie bags from them, the small type ones from easy mode and the bigger ones from hard mode. But I will warn you, most players, I would say 99% of players don't defeat it on hard mode. Even I usually don't do it on hard mode. It's usually a very specific strategy using Hydreigon, maybe reactive gas wheezing. It's very complicated, very difficult, and most players won't have access to it. If there is an easy-ish to follow guide on it, I'll either link it or try to make my own guide if there's a decent strategy to be able to be followed. But all of that, hard mode guides are usually kind of on the fly. A lot of things we're talking about today, there will be more guides uploaded for these during the event itself. A lot of it is that we have to wait until we actually see it, sort of thing. But the most important thing, in my opinion, that you actually get from defeating the Pumpkin boss is an exclusive vanity that you only get from defeating the Pumpkin boss that year. So in 2022, it was the Paladin's Shield, which a lot of people wish they would have gotten this vanity. If you didn't play back then, you didn't kill the boss, it's an untradeable event-only vanity. And in 2021, it was the Mage's Hat. Once again, a pretty cool and unique vanity, not really an alternative for this in PokeMMO. But moving on from the Pumpkin boss, let's go over the mini boss fights. And these are a lot easier, honestly, to explain. They're very, very simple. All you need to defeat the mini bosses, which is probably the money-making method that most people use during the event. It's very easy, very simple, very comfy. Just eat some Halloween candy, run around, and essentially kill these little ghastly pumpkins. You'll essentially look out for calls via my Discord or via your team chat or in-game global chat or whatever social community you want to follow. Now, if you're a more antisocial person or you're just tired that day, you don't really have to socialize that much. You mostly just have to keep track of a chat and see other people who are absolute service warriors to the community who just help and do all these call outs. And it means a lot to the people trying to actually farm the pumpkin mini bosses. But you'll run around the world to these random calls, and you'll see a lot more of that during the event itself. And I'll also be linking all of previous year's guides in the description. So if you want to see, if you're a visual learner, if you want to see visual examples of all this, there will be visual links and videos in the description that will show you a lot better of an example, so you can get a better, full, complete idea to what this upcoming year will look like. But for the pumpkin mini bosses, you really just want 2 eruption Typhlosions and generally a sacrifice Torkoal. I like to use the low level one and just pop in set up sun and just eruption through them. A lot of times you don't even need to set up sun. They're pretty weak as long as you have like 2 eruption Typhlosions, correct nature and like EV trained, etc. You're just gonna blow through the little mini bosses. They're not gonna be a problem. If you don't have a proper team, it could be a little problematic. You might need a Crocodile for them in the back, or a Crocodile. We'll have to see what they look like this year, but generally 2 Typhlosions gonna take care of most of the mini bosses. Now, I'm not even going to cover hard mode Pokemon for you to prepare here because I think it's a really case-by-case basis. I think the hard mode strategy is what changes the most between years, and it's also the most expensive. So I don't feel comfortable telling you guys to go spend like 1 million Pokeyen to prepare a 5x31 Hydreigon and then have that not be good, right? Whereas a Chandelure like this, you could make a decent Chandelure for 50k, 100k if you really want to, but like modest nature, decent Chandelure, it'll just be the time investment of EV training and XP training, and honestly. But that brings us to step number 4. Step number 4 is going to be study and use the resources you have available. So really going through my description, checking out previous guides from Halloween 2023, checking out other amazing content creators who cover events like this, and making sure to cover and subscribe and watch all the videos coming out as the event unfolds. That's it. Step 4 is really easy. And then on to step 5, an easy one to explain, a difficult one to execute. Save Pokeyen. Pokeyen equals flexibility. You never know when something will change, when something will adjust, or when you'll have to buy a new meta Pokemon for a new thing, or there's a whole new vanity, maybe a vanity you really want to pick up, etc., etc. Pokeyen equals options. Once again, this can be kind of a catch-22 though. You don't want to save only Pokeyen and prepare no Pokemon because certain high-demand Pokemon will skyrocket in price. 2 years ago or so, I remember 2 times 31 Chandelures were 1 million Pokeyen on the GTL, which was insane. So if you wanted that limited vanity, you had to really chill out if you didn't prepare ahead of time. So make sure to prepare a little bit of everything or whatever you feel comfortable with. Once again, everything is just subject to change. This is how preparation for events work in PokeMMO. And if this is your first event season in PokeMMO, welcome. It's a very exciting time, a kind of high energy, high excitement, there's gonna be some drama, I'm sure. There's always some fun stuff, but a lot of it's really just grinding, chilling with the boys in team chat, and just making some progress in a game that we all love very much. And I believe that's everything. If you think I missed anything, let me know in the comments. It is really appreciated. I like to heart react and call out people who I think added something really helpful to the video. Like the video if you enjoyed it. That really helps me out a ton, and it takes 1 second. Dislike if it wasn't helpful. That's totally okay. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see videos like this every single day and see Pokemon MMO or PokeMMO content every single day. My Discord's down below for those Halloween callouts upcoming during the event. If you want to join a really cool community, you could follow me on Twitch for streams Monday through Friday at around 12 p.m. ET. And then if you want to go above and beyond and support my content in a very generous way, things like YouTube memberships, PayPal, Twitch subscriptions, Venmo, and this month I do have a quick little affiliate with Factor, which is a really nice way to get some really healthy, tasty, I call them like fancy gamer TV dinners. If you ever wanted to like just chill and play video games and not worry about cooking, not worry about, you know, eating healthy, whatever, Factor just takes care of all that for you. You can grind the Halloween event, pop a meal in the microwave, pop it in the oven. It takes 2 minutes or so. Just eat and not die at the age of 40, which is pretty amazing. But that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Have a great day and good luck in the upcoming Halloween event.
Hey, thanks so much for watching until the very end of the video. That really means the world to me, and it means even more worlds to me if you go above and beyond and support my content financially like all of these lovely people have done. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.